Hey everyone, J Hood Creative here again. I just wanted to tack this on to the video you're about to watch. Just a quick update. Uh, as you know, I'm a freelance artist and I spend a lot of my free time uh, doing freelance artwork, paintings, and such. And I'm getting ready to start a big job that's going to take me about a month. I'm going into it just a little bit late. Uh, I've had a lull, so that's why I've been able to start putting out content on YouTube. So, luckily, I've had a chance to pre-record a few videos. I think you're gonna like about how YouTube has changed my buying habits and some of the things I've learned and some of the ways I go about buying now as opposed to back when I was just on my own. So, and the video you'll see is going to be the beginning of that. I just wanted to shout out Rod the Rican for showcasing me on his shout out show. I really appreciate that. And also, I'm going to be starting a live show November 5th. I'm going to introduce a couple new faces of the community, and it's going to be our new show that we're going to be doing. We're looking at Tuesdays at 9:30, and it'll be a monthly show. We'll have an introductory show. It'll be kind of short, just introduce what we're doing, and then a couple weeks after that, we'll start in earnest with our first episode. So I look forward to that. I just want to put that on your radar and give you the update on kind of my situation where I'm at. So if you see me pop into a live show and say, "Hey, I'm here, but I'm working," that means I'm listening to your show while I'm working on a painting. And even though I won't comment and things like that, chances are I'm there the whole time. So just FYI, I'm there with you. So thanks for posting great content that was really helpful to me as I work, and on with the show. Hi everyone, J Hood Creative here again. I decided one of the things I would like to do, especially here in my early stages, is kind of explain how watching YouTube, watching other community members has really affected how I view my own collection, how I place my value on it, and also kind of what books I'm looking for now. There has been kind of a seismic shift in what I was doing before and what I do now. And I just wanted to kind of walk through kind of a self-evaluation process. And maybe there's something through talking about this that you might also reevaluate what you're doing and see if what you're doing is you're able to kind of target the areas you want to target with your collection and your buying. So I've mentioned before, I'm kind of a budget shopper, and historically been more of I guess, a volume shopper. I've got almost 10,000 comics in my collection. Uh, I keep track of it through the CLZ app, which I have had long enough that I was grandfathered in, so I have it kind of updates for a lifetime. I don't have to pay yearly or monthly or anything. Uh, but I got to 10,000 comics, and I'm looking at it from a standpoint of once I start watching you guys and what you're showing and seeing kind of more valuable books, key books, and I'm looking at my collection, I'm like, yeah, I've got some of those keys, but I look at my collection as a whole, and especially from the standpoint of when I leave this mortal coil, my family's going to be stuck with 10,000 comics. And it's always our dream that we're leaving a legacy, that we're going to leave this as an investment. There's going to be some value involved. And I look at my books and I'm like, I've got 10,000 books. Look at what I got. Yeah, I've got a few valuable ones, but most of them I bought for 50 cents or a dollar. So on average, I've got a $10,000 value on my collection. That averages out to about a dollar a book. So I'm thinking, okay, is this the way I want to keep going? So I've started reevaluating and pulling out books that I never think I'm going to touch again. I've been all interested in reading again. I pull them out. I'm going to get rid of them. There are a lot that I know I want to reread someday. Sometimes I'm working on runs, and I still need to fill holes. So the way I have been buying for a while is by a list. This is my hunting list. I don't expect you to be able to read the whole thing, but So in one column I've got the DC books I want, in one column I have the Marvel books I want, and in one column I have trades and things I'm hunting for. And if there are titles or books that I'm kind of hunting for that they're not a big priority, but if I see them for the right price, I'm going to pick them up. I've got a chart on the back for things like Jim Aparo, Brave and the Bold books, or John Byrne, Fantastic Fours. What else have I got on here? I want to get into Gil Kane, Green Lantern work, Silver Age books, Silver Age Aquaman books, things like that. Thor, Kirby and Buscema Thor, and things like that, where I've got chunks of those in runs, but I want to get more. I just need to keep track of them. So I use this list. It really comes in handy. It's great to have a paper list rather than rely on my phone. It's easier to carry around at shows, and if it gets lost, it's a piece of paper. I just have to reprint it when I get home. But it sucks. I've lost it once, and it sucked losing my list and not knowing what I was hunting for. One thing I do is I put higher priority books towards the top of the list. And one of the things that has happened as I've gone is books have fallen off of this that I'm not that interested in buying anymore. One of the things that got me into collecting this way is the fact that we've got a guy here in the Midwest that does a traveling show. Each weekend he goes to 2 different cities and he puts on a small dealer show. And his deal is buy 50 comics for 20 bucks. Do the math, it's 40 cents a comic. So for years I've been like, I'll walk in that show with, say, 40 bucks. But for some reason, my default price on everything is $40. I don't know why. Like on bigger, somewhat key books or more valuable books, my ouchie price, I call it my ouchie price, is $40. I'm comfortable spending $20 on a book, on a single issue. I get a little bit more hesitant on $30. If it gets to $40 on anything, I feel a pinch. That's why I call it my ouchie price. I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend that much. And sometimes it's okay, but a lot of times I'll pass. So I carry $40 into this dealer show, right? And so 20 bucks of that is going to go to this guy that's got the 50 for 20 deal. And the other 20 is going to be on things like DC Comics Presents Jose Garcia Lopez issues, things like that. Other run fillers that are, further down the list. One thing about this dealer show that I found is you kind of have to let it come to you. You can't go into a smaller dealer show like that. When I say small, it's basically one room in a hotel. He's got maybe 6 to 10 dealers there. So you have to go through and see, okay, this is what the show is offering. What in it is worth it enough to me to buy. And so you can't go in looking for something specific. So what kind of books would be found in a show like this? Books like this, independents. He's got tons of independent books. I didn't necessarily buy these from him, but that's the kind of book that you would find there. And one reason I keep this list, 3 issues. I've got 3 issues. Where's issue 4? I don't have it. He didn't have it. I bought these 3 from him. So the issue 4 would go on this list so that when I go to the next show, maybe next time he's got it. Books like this, Samurai Detective. I'd never heard of it. Looked cool. For 40 cents, you betcha I'm buying it. Fiction Clemens. I have no idea what this is about, but it looks really cool. Nice cartoony, fully painted art. I've got all 3 of them in one bag, but they're the big 48-page books. All the artwork inside looks just like the cover. Cover price on it, $6 cover price. Bought them for $1 each or less, guarantee you. So this is why when I look at my own collection, even books I go out and buy new. Okay, think about it. You go to, and not just this local show, but go to a bigger show. What do you see? You're going to see dollar bins. What are you going to find in the dollar bins? You're going to find 5-year-old Marvel and DCs. You're going to find 2-year-old, 1-year-old Marvel and DC books for $1 that have a $4 or $5 cover price. Think about it. That's a 75% decrease in value. I mean, you're taking a loss if you're buying monthly books. I do it too, but I've kind of refined my buying habits to only buying stuff that really keeps my attention, that really keeps me jazzed. If I buy something and it sits in I've got a drawer of my new buys. If it sits in the drawer and it's still there the next time I buy comics, I'm not that excited to read it. I'm not going to keep going with that title. Kind of, I feel sorry for the guys that I see. They're like, I bought this again. It sucked. I'm going to buy it again next time. Stop it. Stop the madness. Move on. Go put that book down that you're tired of, but if you love that character, go find that same book next year for $1 at a con. So put that down. Go find that other book that intrigued you, but didn't intrigue you enough to pay for that instead of this. I have a passing interest in the Punisher, right? So I like the character, the idea. I like the action, the violence, the gun violence. I'm sure I bought this for $1 in that guy's bin. Not just the first issue, all 6. Again, 4-issue miniseries. I've got the first 2, so the other 2 have to go on my list. And I don't put stuff like this on my list anymore since I've got the CLZ app. That's handy enough that if I run into the other 2 issues of this and I'm not sure which ones I need, I can look it up on that. So my hunting list, my paper list is a little bit more refined than that these days. But here's a whole packet. There's 3 issues of Punisher one-shots. Chris Bachalo art for $1. Killer. Punisher versus a whale. You know, you get all the Tim Bradstreet cover books. You find them for $1 a piece. People paid $3 for these. Another one, Punisher Warzone. I've got 3 of 5. Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. Good stuff. $1 a piece or less. I'm pretty sure 40 cents each on these. See, that's the thing. So you get 3 of the 5 and you're stuck for years waiting to find the other 2. It's 40 cents. It's the price you pay. Stuff like that. Or Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon stuff. So other books that I had been hunting for are more obscure, but they've got the artists I'm into. So something like this, Alex Toth. This was on my, Alex Toth did a Black Canary story in here. This has been on my hunt list for years. And I didn't get this until I started shopping on eBay, because you can't find this book or this one. It was a 2-part story. Bought these on eBay. The rest of the books they're just okay. They're just Supergirl stories, but the Alex Toth Black Canary stories in this is really killer stuff. Again, don't go out and buy these slabbed. You can't look at Alex Toth art in these books if they're slabbed. So this was a learning experience buying on eBay. You can, I don't know, I doubt you're going to be able to make it out, but they had sub creases that were barely noticeable. I don't think they'd ever been pressed, but they're thicker books, or 52-page books, and they were bent this way, so it's bent back on itself. So the front didn't actually get the crease in it like you see a lot of white color breaking lines, and you can barely notice it in the back. And I went back and looked in the photos and listing. You could barely tell. But again, I talk about my ouchie price and what I'm willing to pay for books. These 2 were $15 for the 2. Very reasonable, and especially having been hunting for these forever, I would have paid double that for each one probably if I'd have found them out in the wild. Another Adventure Comics. It's a cool Michael Colletta cover, but I think I found this one for $1 too, and it's got a Alex Toth story in it. So what about more maybe stories I've missed, more modern stories? So I'd go hunting for trades. A lot of people hunt and read trades. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having bookshelves of hardbacks. I've got several here. Um, but this was $5. And I didn't just get this one, I got 4 of them. I got 4 of these Hawkeye trades for $20. With the hardbound with 2 of these, it's like $35. And this, I remember there was a year when they were really unloading these. I'm pretty sure this was $9. The cover price, what's the cover price? I don't know, it was $30, $30 cover price on this new. They overprinted the heck out of them, so they're really blowing them out. So that's what I was doing before. That's kind of the stuff I was hunting for. There were things that I wanted, but I wasn't so interested in them. I was willing to shell out, a lot of money for them. And one of the things I noticed I was doing is I was watching YouTube vids and stuff like that. Was I'd see a book showing somebody landed their grail, and I'm like, I got that. I didn't realize kind of the gravity of what some of these books meant, both from a value standpoint and just to me, some of them have sentimental value, some of them don't, but they were all bought off the shelf. So I'm going to show a few books now that I had in my collection for a long time, and they've grown in value since I bought them off the rack. And these are books that, honestly, in some cases, I didn't realize the value until I heard people talking about them. Books like this, first appearance of the Red Hood, Jason Todd as the Red Hood. I really didn't realize the value. I thought it might be a $10 or $20 book. I saw this one on the wall at shows, and at C2E2, not this last one, but the year before, I saw it up on the wall and noticed the price was $200. I was like, it's a common issue of Detective Comics. Sure, it's a cool cover. Bruce Wayne isn't even Batman in the story. Why is it $200? And I heard someone just recently talking on YouTube about they only printed 35,000 of these. So, Detective Comics used to be the comic that DC would judge all the sales along. That was their baseline seller. So I couldn't believe that a Detective Comics, under any circumstances, would have been that low of a print run. So at a certain point, after I started watching YouTube videos, saw the value of this, I'm thinking, okay, do I keep this one and keep my run whole? Do I sell the whole run, sell the whole storyline, the Black Mirror storyline, and then sell it, and then pick up maybe a Batman 251, that's the classic Neil Adams Joker cover? I would probably value that a lot more than this. But now, knowing this is not just valuable, but a collector's item, is rare, now that's a little bit bigger of a hurdle for me to overcome. I didn't buy this brand new. I started New Teen Titans with issue 10. I started collecting it as a kid off the rack. So I'd missed this one, but bought this as a teenager. I probably paid $8 or $9 for it. And I've been collecting and getting autographs for so long that, most artists will sign the covers now. This one's got Marv Wolfman and George Perez signed on the bottom of the first page. Really? I've always been a Wolverine fan. I knew X-23 was kind of popular. Then I saw the value of this book blow up when the Logan movie came out. And ever since, I've been like, I should just move it. I should just sell it, invest, and put that much money into a giant size X-Men 1 or something like that. These are things I still struggle with. Even this, I, I'm a lifelong X-Men fan. I'm going to tell my X-Men origin story at some point, but pretty much anything anything to do with X-Men since John Byrne, I I bought it. Not everything recently because they do so much, but all the key issues, I got them all, including the first appearance of Deadpool. And I like Deadpool. He's all right. I'm not a huge fan, so I have to evaluate: am I willing to break up my run, sell this for, and again, put it into the giant size X-Men 1 or Hulk 181 or something like that? A valuable book I don't have. Yeah, the struggles we have. So how valuable this one was getting, and I knew I had a copy, and I knew it was nice. I thought it might have like the spinner rack tick in it, but this one's not a newsstand, so it wouldn't have had that. I was checking it to see if it had any flaws at all, any spine ticks, and I think I counted like 2 really minor spine ticks that weren't color breaking. I went to put it back in the bag and dropped it. Did a Comic Head 84, dropped it on this corner. So this has got a little bit of a buckle in it, and it created at least 2 minor color breaking spine ticks in it. So here again, I don't understand the nuances of grading. Before this was near mint, like probably a 9.6, possibly 9.8. What is it now? It's got at least 4 spine ticks and that little crunch. I think the crunch will come out with a pressing, but does that knock it down to a 9.4, 9.2, 9.0? Educate me. Help me figure it out. I've never been a Gambit fan. Bought this new off the rack. I took this book for granted for so long. I wouldn't sell this because I'm not going to break up an Uncanny X-Men run, but if it were any other series, yeah, I'd have sold it by now. And then this. Of all the comics, all the valuable comics, I've gone through and scrutinized all of them to try and figure out what are 9.8 candidates. If I have a 9.8 candidate, this is it. It's flawless. It's perfectly flat. No spine ticks. I mean, the white helps, but I've looked at it with a magnifying glass. There's nothing wrong with it. So I collected through issue 24 of the series. I understand they're huge fans of this comic. And I'm like, I'm kind of over it. So this one will go up for sale one day, whether or not I get it graded before I do, and if there's a movie announcement before I do, we'll see. So that kind of goes over how, kind of what I've accumulated, or what my thought process has been since watching YouTube and kind of getting involved in the community and letting it influence me. One of the things I'm kind of wrapping my mind around, is always there, is that there are different markets within this. We always talk about what's happening in the comic book market. The truth is, there are different markets. You've got the high-end market. I would consider that anything over $2,000 in value, and we're talking about Hulk 181s, giant size X-Men 1s in high grade, any high grade Silver Age key first appearance is all going to be over that price. In my mind, if I ever stick a toe into that market, it's going to be on the very low end, and I'm going to have to kind of buy under that and let the value climb into that. Then you've got what I would consider the mid market, which is, say, in the $250 to $2,000 range. So in this case, you're getting into maybe keys that aren't as in greatest shape, greatest condition, and then anything under that, I consider that in the key or variant market. Say anything from $25 up to $250, based on grade, based on value, rarity, print runs and things like that. And then there are dollar books, or there's dollar books and also modern off-the-shelf new books are in the $4 to $5 range. So up until I started consuming YouTube, I was that dollar book buyer and the new book buyer, and if anything ever rose in value, or if I had anything of value, it grew from that. And now I'm trying to get into the next level of, like I said, my ouchie price is about $40, but I want to get some books that might be more valuable than that, and I'm able to have been successful in finding them and being able to afford them and have them be the conditions I want. So I don't want to keep this too long, so I want to end this video there, and then next time I'm going to go into more of what I've bought and how my approach has evolved since watching YouTube. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Again, subscribe please, hit the like button, and remember, faith, family, comic books. And we'll see you next time.